Hi artists, today we're making Frida Catlos inspired by the famous Mexican artist Frida Kahlo. This is based off the book Frida Catlo that we love in the art room. For this art assignment, you're only going to need three supplies. The first is you're going to need some model magic clay. Now, this isn't like modeling magic that we used for the miniature food lessons. This clay actually does harden overnight. I have it in the three primary colors. Now, this clay is by Crayola. If you don't have this clay at home, that's okay. You can also get similar clays just like this at stores like Five Below. You can also use Modeling Magic or Play-Doh for this lesson, whatever you have at home. I will also be using a pair of scissors today to help work with the clay. And I'll be working on a mat. If you don't have a mat at home, that's totally okay too. Just make sure you're working on a wipeable surface that won't get dyed or stained with the clay. Okay, artists, let's get started. Okay, so I'm working with the three primary colors. Now, if you have extra colors in your kit, feel free to use those, but I'm gonna do this lesson as a color mixing lesson and show you how to make the secondary colors and also how you can make brown. So the first thing I'm gonna do is make the face of the Frida cat. So it's gonna be a big circle with some ears, and we need brown. So to make brown, I want to use about half of this blue. And if you want to, a fun trick is you can cut the Model Magic clay. And then I want to use, so if we're looking at fractions here, I've used half of the blue. I'm using about 2/3 of the yellow and 2/3 of the red. Now, you can go in and add more, but you can never take away. So if you're worried about the proportions, definitely adding less to get the right color. So I'm mixing the blue, the yellow, and the red. Notice that I have less of the blue than the yellow and the red. And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start pulling and smushing and twisting. And if you've ever worked with paints, you know that if you mix all three primary colors together, you're eventually gonna get a real muddy looking color, and that's gonna be our color for the brown for the cat. Now, if you have white Model Magic at home, you can actually color that with a marker. So you could color that with a brown marker to make your brown color for your cat. So as you can see, I'm twisting and pulling, and I'm starting to get these brown muddied colors. It's actually looking very beautiful. And that's the color I'm looking for my cat. And remember, if you don't have Model Magic at home, that's totally okay. Modeling clay, Play-Doh, any of that will work. I even have a video how to make edible Play-Doh at home. That would also work too. If you don't want a brown cat like the book, you can also have a white cat or a pink cat. Totally feel free to personalize this. Okay, so here is my brown colored clay that I'm going to use for her face. And now I'm going to mix the secondary colors. So I'm going to mix all of these. I'm going to pre-cut them. I'm going to make a little rainbow. So I've got red. I need to mix red and yellow to make orange. I have yellow. A little bit too much right there. Yellow. I need to mix blue and yellow to make green. And then I have blue, and I'm going to open up these packages so that I can make purple. And purple would be red and blue as well. So all you're going to do to make these colors is, again, smush, twist, pull, tear, and these colors will turn the secondary colors. So here I'm mixing red and yellow, and I'm gonna get the secondary color orange, and you can already see it just like coming through. So I'm going to mix all my colors, and when I come back, I'm gonna have all the rainbow colors up here. So really quickly, to make your rainbow colors, you need red. You're going to mix red and yellow to make orange. You're going to mix yellow and blue to make green. Then you have blue. And then you're going to mix red and blue to make purple right here. And I'm going to open up my packs and get started. And I will be right back. So I have mixed all of my colors, and now I have all the rainbow colors available to me for this project. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my brown clay and I'm going to set aside some, not a ton, but maybe about as big as one of these pieces. And that's going to be for her ears, and the rest of this is going to be her face. So I just kind of want to mold a ball almost, and I'm just rolling it in my hands, trying to get it smooth and not totally lumpy. Now, it's okay if one of these sides of the ball is a little bit flatter than the others, because you do want it to sit on the table. Okay, so there's her face. And now I'm going to take what's left over, divide it in half because she has 2 ears. Again, I'm rolling it into a ball. I want them to appear 3D. So her ears, cat ears, are pointy on the top. So I'm just pinching in. And then I'm going to attach to one side. And with the Model Magic Clay by Crayola, you just have to press, and when it dries, it'll be stuck. And then do the same for the other side. Roll into a ball, pinch the top so it's pointy, and then attach to the top. Okay. So next up, you can look at Frida Cat. So we're going to be working on her flower crown. That's why I have all the rainbow colors here. So I'm going to show you how to make a couple different flowers. So I'm going to grab a piece of the clay, roll it into a ball. And it's okay if it's not perfect. And I'm going to take my scissors and cut into the clay by going around in a circle, and that will give me the petals to my flower. So you can see there I've got now a flower with 5 petals. If I want to include a center for the flower, all I have to do is grab a different color and then stick this in the middle, just like that. So that's one flower. I'm gonna make probably about 4 flowers for her, and they can be different sizes. In fact, in a flower crown, you kind of want bigger flowers and smaller flowers. So this one is going to be a bit smaller. I can use that same technique but cut more. So instead of cutting 5 petals here, I'm going to cut a bunch more so that this one looks a little bit different than my orange flower. And so now I've got this flower, and then grab a little bit of a different color and stick it in the middle. And I'm going to keep doing this, and I want to make a whole bunch of different flowers. Now you can also, when you're making these flowers, you can mold them with your hands. You don't have to use scissors. So if you want to mold petals, With your hands, you can by pushing into the clay. And then I'm going to put a little bit of a center in that one. And then grab and I'm going to, this time when I'm cutting, I'm going to actually pull off a little bit of each petal and I'm going to squish in the sides. So instead of it being pointy on the sides, they're kind of rounded. And I'm tearing off a little bit between each petal so that my petals are more defined on my flower. Remember, none of this is totally permanent until you let it dry overnight because you can always, if you don't like the way it looks, you can smush it together and try again. Right. Once you have all your flowers made for your flower crown, you want to start assembling them. Now, you might realize that you have a bunch of, I realize I have a bunch of big flowers here and I need some smaller ones. So I'm going to make a quick few smaller ones so that I can arrange them above her head. So I'm going to come right back with a more of a selection of flowers to choose from. Okay, so what I've done is I've made a bunch of flowers. I've even made some tiny ones for smaller spaces, and I've also made a bunch of leaves. Now, to make a leaf, it's just like how we made the ear for the cat. So all you need to do is roll the clay into a ball and pinch one end so it's a little pointy because this flatter side is going to go against the flower. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start assembling my flowers atop her head. And when you're setting them down, you kind of want to twist them on a little bit so they're sticking on. You don't want these flowers to fall off. If they do, it's okay. You can just glue them right back on. And then add my little ones in. And then I want to add some leaves. And you're just making sure everything is sticking to each other and that it's not going to fall off. Okay. And now we've got the flower crown all set, and it's definitely 3D. All right, now we're gonna work on her face. Now, if you have white, you can mix red and white to make pink. I don't have any pink white here at the house, so her cheeks are just going to be red, which is totally fine. And I'm going to give her 2 red cheeks. Again, if you have white, mix red and white together, make a pink, and have her cheeks be pink. I'm going to go ahead and give her some eyes. I'm going to color in her famous unibrow. And I'm using a Sharpie for this. If you just have regular markers at home, that's okay too. And this step is optional. If you have clay, You can actually use clay for any of this. Now, in the center, you can just draw on a nose or a mouth, which I'll show you that right now. So you can draw on a nose. If you have different colored Sharpies at your house, this would be the time to use them. You could even go in here where her cheeks are and you could draw in some whiskers. Now, if you don't like this look, you can also go in here and you can add a different piece of a different color for her nose and mouth. So I'm going to be mixing a little bit of a different color brown and putting it in the middle so you can see that option. So again, mixing red, yellow, and blue, the three primary colors to make the brown. You want to add a little bit more of one of the colors so that your brown doesn't come out the same color as your cat. Now, if you used white clay and you used brown, then this will be easy to make a completely different color because you can add less of the marker or more of the marker or even use a different color. Okay, so it looks like I have a little bit different color here. Add a little bit more in. Okay, now I want this piece and I'm gonna roll it into a ball, and I kind of want it in a little bit of a circle. I'm gonna stick it right here in the middle. It's a little bit too big. And then I'm gonna do a little bit of a red triangle for nose. And then I'm gonna go in and draw the mouth. You can personalize your Frida cat however you want. You can make her look totally unique and different than mine. They don't all have to look the same. I can't wait to see what you do with this artist. Have so much fun making your Frida Catlo. I'll see you again later. Bye.